This is from a bathroom. Uh, about Germany and America. Okay, so I just like another thing that God just showed me was that Martin Luther had just an amazing, amazing revelation of grace. As a Catholic, not to discount Catholics. A lot of Catholics I know are very sincere, but he had a huge revelation of grace. And this revelation that he had just sparked, it went like wildfire, like around Europe. It was like during that time that the Wesleyan revival happened in England, and it affected everybody. It birthed Protestant faith, um, and and I know he had some Calvinist ideas too, but but the thing is that, then you see what happened in Germany later, and that it was because the devil was so mad about what had been released from Germany to the world through Martin Luther. And this is exactly true about America. When you think of the effect America has had in the world, the Queen at the dedication of the second Liberty Bell in 1976, talking about how America had helped England go from being an empire to being just a commonwealth. And America had changed England phenomenally. I've spent enough time in Europe to know what Europe is like more in the present. Um, and how much it had to have changed, from that domination by kings. You think about they were goofy kings, like the one in Germany that built that castle that Disney based their castle on, and they hoarded wealth. They had so much control, and the effect America had to change Europe. And then think about China now, and how much China has changed too, and like their desire to be more like America in their economic system, and wanting to have the benefits of the kind of system that America has. And then think about the fight to overcome communism that did culminate in the fall of the Berlin Wall, the effect that it had on Korea, and now North Korea, the changes that are happening there. I mean, and I credit Dennis Rodman for a lot of possibly having a large part in that. And just America, just around the world, the freedom that's been released, and the Protestant faith then too, that has been released around the world. Revivals that have happened here. And like there was a revival in Toronto that spread through the British Commonwealth. But, just everything, even revival like that. Revival was released because you think about when revivals started in England, and they started after people had settled here. It was after America. You don't hear about revivals happening in England back in those dark days of the lordship of kings. Oh my goodness. And who is going to be more angry about that than the devil? And he wants revenge. Revenge on America for all the freedom that America has released to the world. And you don't have to go any farther than that to understand, why. And then he has a lot of people who sympathize with him, for reasons that are just almost impossible to understand. But they want to help him to do what he wants to do, to get the revenge that he wants to get. Hailing from Tempe, Arizona, suburb of Phoenix. Continuing on our topic, this is about America again. So, the way I see it is, always in the Western world for 2,000 years is hanging over everybody this fear about the end times. And the end times are all these movies like Fahrenheit 451 and Ray Bradbury, right? And then, the George, what's his name, in, 1984, all the, Space Odyssey 2001, everything. The future's always more control, those monoliths, were like, determining everybody's destiny. It's always fear about the future. So then along comes, but Europe was already so bad, because just like the leaving the pagan world, it just seemed like it was not happening,
well enough. There was still so much oppression. And so, what they just have to believe for something better, and so many people were believing for something better, starting America. And I think it really was a move towards the Lord's Prayer. Lord, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And saying, well, why not? And then it was saying, Thomas Paine was saying, God told the Jews, and he's following the paradigm for the Jews, don't have a king, because all they'll do is abuse it. There's only one person who can be king and not abuse it, and that is Messiah. So it's like a move towards Messiah, move towards the kingdom of God. Jewish people have been protected and have been able to flourish in America, probably like nowhere else. And, black people found their voice, found their talent here. They didn't find it in Africa. I mean, wow. So, America. So then, you think about, I was talking about how when the Jewish people came along, that was such a threat to Satan. So he has this idea, no, it's going to be that I'm going to have control, more control over humanity. And he's always hoping for that. And the people who love the devil are hoping for that. And, and then America comes along and, again, something comes along to mess up his plan and his agenda. And it's not going in the way that he wants. And so that's what we have to. And then, the whole thing about protecting Jews, well, he's not happy about that. So he's always going to be moving counter to all those things. And you always have to be aware of it, because he's just a frickin' bully, who's always hanging around. And then we just have to ask God, why did this even have to be? And that's a question you can't answer. Again, from Tempe, Arizona, on the subject of black people finding their voice here and not in Africa, finding, the more I think about it, the more I realize how the music that comes from black people, the lingo, the ghetto lingo that eventually makes its way into our culture is one, and and then their comedy, their in movies and things, their comedy, they're immensely talented, but their music, it has, when you just realize how it has so revolutionized music around the world, and and hopefully it will remain, unless people who try to go back and just destroy it, who are really negative. But just think of how it is it's a revolutionary. The rhythm. Back in the day, we were being told it was the devil's music. Now you find out the devil doesn't even like rhythm. It was just a crop, and it's just it inspires joy, and gives you a sense of freedom. It has revolutionized music. So it was revolutionary. Civil rights, then the music, it was revolutionary. This is why. This is why the opposition. And if you understand that, if you just understand that, it helps so much.
Continuing on the same topic, talking about the contributions of people like black people in America. When I talk about how America was a move towards the kingdom of God, I realize that there are people that are going to really be confused by that and hurt to even hear that, like Native Americans. How is the kingdom of God coming to earth in what happened with them? And I realize that. I actually have some Native blood. Not a lot, but I hope that talking like this helps Native people too to understand the contributions of people from America, like Jewish people, like the song Unchained Melody. That was written by two Jewish men, Alex North, who was writing for Hollywood at the time. He wrote for that movie. He's Jewish. Zaret wrote the lyrics. He's Jewish. You think about people like Bob Dylan and the profound lyrics that he's written. He's Jewish. And so how Jewish people have been able to find themselves in America and then give to the world the results of that. And then I talked about the black contribution. So it is revolutionary. Rick Joyner wrote this little book. You can find it. It's a little book through his ministry in North Carolina. I think it's called Daystar Ministries, maybe. I'm not sure. But it's a ministry in North Carolina that you could get this little booklet called Overcoming Racism. And in the book, he talks about how he believes that one day Black people will set people free in America, and it'd be because they had such a destiny. This is why they were oppressed. And I really think that's true, that their oppression comes from the fact that they have this energy, this life, this talent, and that they just are always on that cutting edge of being liberators. They're liberators with the way that they think. They're counterintuitive, they're counter culture, they're counter the way things are. This is why there's so much opposition against them. And but the thing is that when I read that, I was thinking about this now. I have to change this little essay that I wrote based on what he was saying, is that they already have freed people with what they have done. They've already freed people with their music and with their culture, and with other things that they've done, like their comedy and film and so many things. They've already released so much freedom to the world. And I was talking about the music and how it has freed people. And this is the reason for the opposition. This is the reason that there's so much opposition to them, because there are these. It's mainly people who embody Satan, who they're so negative and they're so anti-life, and they're so anti-life, and they so love the devil. These are people, they fall in love with the devil, because I read this book by Mary McLean, who was in Butte, Montana, early 1900s. She actually said that she loved the devil. It was like she had fallen in love with the devil. They become enamored of the devil, which is enabled mostly by the gospel of Christ, that people discover there's a devil, and then they fall in love with the devil more than they fall in love with this man who had the courage to go plunge into hell and spend 72 hours fighting principalities and powers, which is Christ. They fall more in love with the devil. And but in doing that, they have this negativity. They have this anti-life. God said, all who hate him love death. The devil hates God, and these people hate God. And they're anti-life. And so in being anti-life, they're against things that are life. And really, Black people, despite the fact there are plenty of Black people who are negative, they're hate-filled. That's why the ghettos are so toxic. But there are many, many, many who are not, who are faith-based, that Christian faith at their base, and they release life in what they've given. In their music, I can't see anything but life in the kind of music that they have created. And the devil, who's anti-life, this is why he hates them. But so it's Black people. There are other people in America who they still need to find. Another group I realize, though, in America, who have discovered their talent, discovered their identities, and prospered because of it, is women. Women have enjoyed emancipation and freedom and finding themselves more than women probably ever have in the history of the world. If you think about it, it's just phenomenal when you think about all the things that America has done for people. That is the third group of people: Black people, Jewish people, and women. And of course, women in those same ethnic groups, but white women, and all different kinds of women. Still to be Native women and Asian women, because Asian women are still stereotyped. Native women, the natives still have a ways to go to really heal, I think. But so we need to go forward and not backward. But we need to take inventory of all that America has done for the world, and why there's so much opposition from that negative thing that's in the earth, and it's in people who are comfortable with it